Welcome, sir. Welcome. Looking very amazing. And they're both looking like they're coming from the northern part of this. Welcome, welcome. All right. So this session is going to be the education and the entrepreneurship session. So Ma, you'll be taking the entrepreneurship aspect, and then Sir, you'll be taking the education aspect in terms of the questions that come with it. Okay. So Ma, the entrepreneurship session first. So the question is, what key mindset shifts must entrepreneurs in Ebonyi make in order to move from survival mode businesses to scalable ventures with global potential?
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, beautiful mama.
Good morning. It's lovely to be here, and I see that there are beautiful, handsome faces here. So, my name is Choma Ikelechi, the CEO of Grand Experia, a travel and tour company. And I also head the Ikelechi Ogba Foundation. I'm sure a lot of you must have met my husband in the morning, Professor Ikelechi Ogba. And then also Cafe Scientific Woman, which is a STEM platform that is helping young girls unlock their problem-solving potentials here in the southeastern region of Nigeria. So to your question, which is,
How do key mindset shifts?
How do we have a mindset shift
yes,
so that we
move from survival mode businesses to scalable ventures with global potential?
With global potential. Okay, so the thing is that there's so many ways to move from survival mode to having global potentials. And I would say that one of the ways is through reading. There's so much secrets, there's so much potentials in reading about the people who have done businesses. People who have done the kind of businesses that you want to do. The second way I would suggest is, especially for the Gen Z who have very low attention span, and with the low number of readers that we have now, is to find places where the people who have done what you want to do are. So whether it's in a place like Bizcon conference or networking sessions, multiple other conferences, there you would be able to listen to people who have done the type of business that you have done. During breakout session, I heard Chimdi when she was talking about connecting with people during breakout sessions. Because the thing about moving anything at all, whether it's business, whether it's an idea, a non-governmental organization, the thing about moving it from one place to another is environment. And when I say environment, I mean the state of your mind. Because it's so important for you to always see that things are possible and you are limitless. And so the more you surround yourself, or you are in the environment where you see that there are no boundaries, that you can do anything, absolutely anything, that the money that you're imagining that it will take tens of years for you to make it, people are now making that money in matter of seconds and minutes. If you are in that environment, there's going to be a change in your mind, first of all, and everything. I can't remember who quoted it. He said, even wars are won in the mind. So your mind is the most important thing. And that's why I said reading, being amongst people who do not think about impossibilities. For them, everything is about possibilities. And of course, I think that the third recipe is that you have to put in the work. You have to grind, right? So you always have to, and this is something I do all the time. I am thinking with people, I am calling somebody who I know has probably done something like this before, or somebody who can just listen to my idea. So somebody to talk to, write down all the things that you want to do. You know, look at the ones that are possible. Go online, research what is possible. How do I do this? How do I go about this? How do I meet this person? Who do I need to talk to make sure that I get access to a fund? Who do I need to talk to make sure that I get access to a room? You have to now put in the grind, and that's where all of the writing comes in. And I mean, I wouldn't take too much of our time to talk about like building teams, thinking about the work that you want to do, the problem you want to solve, the gap that you want to fill, and how to build a team around that. But I think that basically, the most important thing that you can do is to always be in an environment where there are no impossibilities.
Amazing. Please, a round of applause for that. Like, I feel like she gave us a whole session in just a few minutes. Another round of applause, please. I mean, she talked so much about mindsets. I hope we're taking notes. I hope we're taking notes because these are like bullet points just coming out in few seconds. Okay, so the next question, thank you so much, Ma. The next question would be to you, Ma, Sir. In a world where digital skills are currencies, how can the education system in Ebonyi State evolve to produce globally competitive talents who can thrive in the creative, tech, and entrepreneurial sectors?
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful question.
Yes, sir.
First of all, let me start by introducing myself briefly. My name is Uche. I work with One Youth Global. If you're from One Youth Global here, put your hands together. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see we are well represented here. And I would also want you to put your hands together for my brother and friend Wilson. Wilson is amazing. Thank you very much for putting this together. Now to the question you asked, before we begin to answer that question, I think it's important for us to establish a baseline analysis of what the digital access in the Ebonyi State looks like. This is what we know. We know that just about 40% of the people who live in Ebonyi State have access to the internet. Just about 40%. That's about 5% less than the national average. What that means is that out of every 6 persons in Ebonyi State, just about 4 of them have access to the internet. I was with the Commissioner for Education a couple of days ago, and I was having a conversation with him about the possibility of establishing tech hubs across Ebonyi State. And there was something he said to me that day that really struck me. He talked about the possibility of establishing it in villages. While I vibe with that idea, the first thing that really struck my mind was that how many persons in the villages have access to computers? And how many persons in the villages have access to cell phones, to smartphones? So what we need to do, first of all, is to think about the schools that we have in Ebonyi State, especially primary and secondary schools, and begin to establish access to the internet across those schools in Ebonyi State. Currently, we know that we have about 68% infant literacy rate in Ebonyi State, and 80% infant illiteracy rate and 68% adult literacy rate, which means that we have a shortfall of about 12%. That 12% accounts for those who finish primary school that do not make it to secondary school. As of 2016, just about 0.3% of all Ebonians went to the university. When we got to 2024, just about 1.3%, representing about 44,000 Ebonians, made it to the university. What does that tell you? It tells you that most Ebonians are not even going to school. So the first thing is go to primary schools, establish internet access across those primary schools. Secondly, increase the access of young people, the upward mobility of young people from primary to secondary school, from secondary to the university. You cannot solve the issue of lack of literacy if people are not literate at all. Before you begin to talk about digital literacy, before we begin to talk about digital currency, we need to get people educated. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always vested in programs that are geared towards increasing the access of young people to education. Because it is only someone who can read and write that can use ChatGPT. If you cannot read and you cannot write, you cannot use ChatGPT. If you cannot read and you cannot write, you cannot even take courses on YouTube or any of the other learning platforms. So I think that the first thing that policymakers need to do is to target the primary and secondary schools, increase their access to the internet. And there is a fantastic way to do it now. Starlink is a very easy way to do it. I'm not doing publicity for Elon Musk or Starlink. But if you put Starlink in Ikwo, it will respond. If you put it in Uburu, it will respond. If you put it in Ngo, it will respond. So I think that the policymakers in the Ebonyi State need to invest in platforms like Starlink, technology like Starlink, democratize access to the internet. Let young people take responsibility for their own education. Our education system, sadly, seems to be preparing our young people for a world that no longer exists. This is what I mean by that. It is built on the assumption that if you can memorize certain numbers, memorize certain facts, you can graduate and get a job in any sector at all. But that world does not exist anymore. I gave an example a couple of days ago while I was discussing with young people. In 2018, NNPC advertised for a position. They advertised for about 1,200 positions, precisely. Over 20 million of us applied for that job. I was one of those who wrote the exams. At the end of the day, 60,000 of us passed the exam and were invited for interview. Just 1,200 were taken. That's less than 0.8% of all the people who wrote the exams. What does that tell you? If we are to work with that number, it means that the average person who is in the university in Nigeria currently will not get a job when they graduate. And why is that? Because they are locked out of the digital economy of the 21st century. How do we democratize access to that? Invest in technology that liberalize access to the internet in primary and secondary school, then invest heavily in the upward mobility of young people from primary to secondary school, then from secondary school to the university. By the time we get to that world, by 2050, the World Bank actually projects that by 2050, Africa will have the largest workforce in the world. By 2050, we will have a world where most Ebonyi young people will not just be digitally savvy, but they will be part of the 21st century global economy. That's
amazing, amazing, amazing. Please, a round of applause. I mean, I really hope we are taking notes. And one of the things he said was that you don't start dealing with an issue from, the surface. You actually go to the roots to first deal with it. Thank you very much, sir. The next question to you, Ba. How can entrepreneurs design business models that are not just relevant locally, but also adaptable to global markets and trends?
Okay, I think that to really, really answer this question, we would need to think about systems, structures, which is something that we are greatly lacking, and it's a whole topic, it's a whole world of its own. But I can say that we need to design systems and systems that work, so that I'll give you an example of what I mean. If you design a system, so for example, you want to get a social media manager, right, to manage your social media account. So for you to get a social media manager, they would first of all have to learn about your business, what your business does, what problem does it solve, who are its target audience, who are its current customers, where do you want to go to, how many customers do you have, how many customers do you want to acquire in the market, right? And so that means that there has to be some onboarding process for this new person that is coming onto the business to learn about the business that you do, right? And imagine if you get a social media manager now, and because of what we have now in Nigeria, which is kind of like the Jackpot syndrome, and the social media manager jackpots in 2 months, right? Meaning that there's a gap. So you have to get another person, you have to onboard that person. And so it takes some weeks for somebody to even learn about the business and everything that you're doing. And in 2 months, the social media manager hasn't even really gained footing. And now you have to do that again. And imagine if you have to do that manually. Somebody has to teach the other person. But now, think about if the person who has to teach the person is also leaving or has left. So you have probably a couple of new employees who are coming onto the business. And how do you let them know about your business if you have not documented the process? If you don't have a process in your business. So even as a business, like a small business, no matter how small you are, even if you're doing 50,000 naira every day, you have to have a document that you started with that talks about your business. What is my business about? Who are we? What problem do we solve? Who do we solve these problems for? Who are our customers? When you're starting out, it's who are your potential customers. And as you have done business, you know who your customers are. So things like documenting the people that buy, the people that, asked questions, the people that you can now follow up with. So somebody who is coming to do, like for example, if you get a customer acquisition personnel, now they know some of the people who have even visited your business and they haven't bought. And if they have like all of that information, they can now say, these are the first set of people that we have to start with, because at least these people have an idea of the business that we do and the problem that we're solving. And so let's reach out to these people to find out why haven't they bought. But then the thing is that as you grow that business, you will now even start to automate how you find out why somebody's not buying. So you're creating more fields where people answer questions about, the reason why they decided not to buy, or if they bought before and they are no longer buying, you now know the reason. So it helps you to make informed decision. At the end of the day, the important thing is that when you have a process, you really can solve problems for customers anywhere in the world that have similar problems. So that is one way. And another way is that this even starts with why you started business in the first place, how you envisioned your business in the first place, right? So you envisioned your business to start to solve problems locally, but did you even think about your business in the global context in the first place, right? And at the end of the day, even if you didn't think about your business in the global context and you have started business and you find out that, man, there are potential customers that I can reach out to all over Nigeria, all over the world. Essentially, you have to adapt to those places, because sometimes we may have similar problems, but it's in different ways. So, for example, if you do something like brand communication, right? The way that you talk to a Nigerian is not the way that you probably talk to like an American. For a Nigerian, just like Nora did the spoken word and she spoke a lot of pidgin, that would not fly in America simply because that's not like a language that they understand or they're used to. So at the end of the day, being very dynamic and being able to identify the language that these people hear is one way to get your product in front of those people. So I mean, I could go on and on about how to take your business globally, but in the end, the root is that you have to at first be solving problems. When you think about starting a business, it has to be from the point of view of solving a need, meeting people's needs, like something that is a pain point for people, something that pinches people, and you can take off that pinch, you can take away that pain point. That is one thing. And then, when you find out that this problem, because there's some people that build and they build for the local markets, and that's fine. You don't have to be solving problems for people in America. You just need to solve for people in Nigeria. And there's a whole market because we have the population, we have the number. There's some people that build their businesses and they build it to target Africans, and that's fine. So when you are crossing from even the southeast, the language that you're speaking has to be a little bit different. And I'll give you an example. If you want to deliver something or you want to travel on a Monday, in the southeast, it's not the most advised, because a lot of transport companies do not even move on Monday because of sit at home, right? So when you come to the southeast, you kind of have to adapt to that. You probably have to now build your business to run between Tuesday to Saturday as opposed to maybe Monday to Friday. But if you go to Lagos, you have to build your business to run from Monday to Sunday, because people are buying something every time. And if you go to 24/7, and if you go to Abuja, like, people are more chilled, you really don't want to be selling things in Abuja on Friday, except it has something to do with like the Muslim population, helping the Muslim population. So for every environment, you ultimately have to learn how to solve their problem. It's the same problem that you're solving everywhere, but you have to adapt to how these people react to these problems. So there's a lot of research that has to go into, and that's the reason why if you hear of big companies, you hear about R&D, and you hear like big budgets, and you're wondering why these big budgets? Because at the end of the day, you have to study how these people buy, why they buy, when they buy. And so if you just scale that you're solving people's problems here in Ebonyi, and for Lagos, you have to tweak it a little bit, then you can take it global, because what essentially that you have to do is to research about the peculiarities of this environment and apply that to how you do business in that environment. So, yeah.
A round of applause, a round of applause. She talked about systems, structures, documentation, doing the work, which comes in with the research and development, doing your work. All right. So before we move the next question to Mr. Uchechukwu, so please, if you have any questions, please just pass it to somebody standing by you. You can just signify, and then they'll come get the questions from you. But we're just going to be taking one question from this particular session. So if you have a question, you can just pen it down and then just pass it across. Thank you very much. Okay. So over to you, sir. Okay. How can young people in Ebonyi access high-quality, low-cost global education opportunities, which has to do with the online platforms, scholarship, remote learning, and then how do we democratize that access?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Before I answer that question, let me quickly... Okay, can I get a better mic? I don't know, but thank you. So, okay, thank you very much. All right. Before I answer that question, let me quickly respond to the question you asked Chi before. I'm responding to that question because of a particular reason. I've actually made that mistake before. In 2021, myself and a couple of friends, we came together. At the time, I was working as the new media expert for Michigan Times in the US. And I remember that at that time, I was the guy who determined how we allotted advert money, especially for branding. So I discovered that we were spending approximately $10,000 to make a logo. $10,000 to make a logo. And then I called a few friends, David, Chioma, not this Chioma, another Chioma, Aisha. We all met during NYSC. And I told them, you guys, we can actually come together and build a business here. Render this same service at less than half the cost. And all these guys were living in Nigeria. So we could afford to charge less than half the cost. So we started the business in 2021, precisely in April 2021. By September 2021, we had made more than $100,000 from that business. But then I started my PhD in 2021, September. And I discovered that we couldn't sustain the business because from the outset, we never intended for it to be a business. We wanted it to be a gig. So there was no structure. There was no documentation, nothing like that. We just wanted to make quick cash. One of the mistakes that lots of African entrepreneurs make is that they build gigs and not businesses. So they don't have any structure at all. They just want to solve a problem and make money. Solving a problem is fantastic, but the structure that Chi talked about is very, very important. You need to establish a structure to absorb and accommodate the kind of growth that your business might come with. I'll give you another example with Jumia. When Jumia started with the model that Amazon wanted to play. When Amazon started in the US, Amazon, over the first 10 years that they existed, they were raking in losses. Why? Because they were building and consolidating their market base. They were expanding their customer base, such that they were counting in terms of return on sales, not return on investment, and not return on equity. So they were counting success as the number of customers that bought from them more than once and kept coming back. And they were also counting on the number of customers that had from other customers and decided to come and use their services again. Return on sales, not return on equity, not return on investment. Right? Jumia, on the other hand, when they started, because they targeted mainly the African market, they did not do that. Jumia was profitable almost within the first 5 years. Because I know persons who invested in Jumia. It went public. It was listed on the the New York Stock Exchange. Within the first 5 years. Think about that. That's success, right? But guess what? When growth hit them, they began to expand beyond the shoreline of Africa. And that collapsed Jumia. Because they were unable to invest in the infrastructure and in the consolidation of the market base that will absorb the growth. If you are starting a business, ask yourself, why do I want to start this business? If you want to start a global business, then you need to study the global model, establish structures, take in the loss, take the hit initially. But build structures that will be able to sustain growth when it comes. Because if you are actually solving a problem, you will grow. And when you grow, growth can do two things to a business. Either it destroys a business or it makes the business to expand. Now to the question you asked.
Yes, sir. So the question is, how can young people in Ebonyi State access high-quality, low-cost global education opportunities
Thank you
through
very much.
online platforms, scholarships, remote learning, and all of those?
Thank you very much. Okay, there are a few things that I'll suggest. The first one is that there are several online platforms currently that you can take advantage of. edX is one of them. Coursera is another one. YouTube is one of the biggest repository of knowledge that people undervalue. The average Nigerian young person spends about 12,000 naira monthly on subscription. That's the lower end. The higher end is at about 16,000 naira, between 12 to 16,000 naira on data, internet data. If you spend that on a monthly basis, you can actually learn lots of things on YouTube. Because with 12,000 naira, you will be, on MTN for instance, you will be able to access nothing less than 25 gig. Am I correct? 25 gig is actually 10,000 naira on MTN currently, if I'm not mistaken. So you can actually learn a lot on YouTube. edX is another one. Coursera is another one. There are several online platforms that you can take advantage of. And then, of course, AI. I had a conversation with a young lady a few months ago, precisely in June. This young lady is 26 years old. She lives in Abakaliki. She is a fashion designer. She's not in this hall. So if you know any fashion designer sitting by you, that's not the person I'm talking about. And the young lady at the time did not know anything about ChatGPT. She had no idea what ChatGPT. As a matter of fact, she did not know anything about AI. She did not know what AI was, artificial intelligence. So I showed her what ChatGPT was on my computer, and I asked her to give me her phone. When she gave me her phone, I checked. And I wanted to help her to download ChatGPT on her phone. And then I discovered that she already had ChatGPT installed on her phone. Bring out your phone, everyone. Check all the apps on your phone. You see that app that you don't use? Maybe that's ChatGPT. It's possible that that's ChatGPT. There is also another one called Gemini. There are lots of things that you can learn today using artificial intelligence. You have a wealth of knowledge on your hands. If only you can take advantage of it, you can learn so much. And you don't need to spend money learning some of these things. You don't need to subscribe to ChatGPT Pro or Gemini Pro or DeepSeek Pro, any of the AI platform. You don't need to subscribe to any of them to learn these things. You can learn so much from the free version. And let me point this out before I stop talking. Cost is the excuse that lots of people give in the 21st century for lack of education. But it's a lie. Anybody who is not educated in the 21st century is illiterate not because of cost, but because of choice. Because there are so many ways that you can learn free of charge. You don't need to pay anything for it. So I would suggest that you start from the free ones. And let me also point something else out. When you learn enough using the free version, you can actually send a message to those platforms using what you have learned and ask them to give you access to the paid version. And trust me, simply because you live in Nigeria, simply because you live in Ebonyi State, if you give them the numbers on the Human Capital Development Index of Nigeria, which is at 36%, right, Samson? 36%. Now, what it means, let's break some of these things, and I've been throwing numbers about, but I want to take time and break some of them down. When we say that Human Capital Development Index is at 36% in Nigeria, what it means is that an average person who is born in Nigeria, who lives for more than 60 years old, will only achieve 36% of their full potential as a human being. If they access the best education that is available in Nigeria and access the best technology that is available in Nigeria. That's what it means. It means that even if you go to the Ivy League of Nigeria currently is Covenant University, right? It means that if you go to Covenant University, or you go to any of the big universities and you get a very good education, you do a PhD, the max you can fulfill your potential is 36%. You will only be able to live up to 36% of your potential. That's what it means. So if you're able to tell Google, for instance, or tell Microsoft, or tell Meta, or tell LinkedIn Learning is also on that platform, or tell edX or Coursera, that look, I live in a country where if I access every resource that is available to me, I'm only able to live up to 36%, to fulfill about 36% of my potential. Those platforms will give you their courses free of charge. I'm telling you the truth. Try it, it will work. But then you need to demonstrate to them that you have utilized every one of the free courses that they have available. If you've utilized all those resources, then you can now ask them to give you access to the paid ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Amazing. Please, a round of applause, a round of applause. He spoke about YouTube and all of the different platforms that we can actually learn from for free. Emphasis on free. So if you don't have money, you can still learn. Knowledge is not, you're not isolated from knowledge just because you don't have money. All right, so we have one more questions to go for each of the sections. So please, if you have questions, please just pen them down and then pass it to our host by your right. Yes, and then we'll get the questions from them. We're just going to take one question that is coming from the participants, okay? All right.
Let me add something to
what
Uche said.
Okay.
So when it comes to, accessing education equity or accessing education opportunities and platforms, the model that Uche has talked about, very important. And to even add to that model, there are a lot of these platforms like Coursera, edX, they have like courses that are actually free. You only have to pay if you want to get the certificate. So if you're even building anything that does not really require you to show your certificates to anybody, you can acquire this knowledge and have it for you, for yourself. And then whatever it is that you're using it to build yourself, a business, a platform, you want to code, whatever it is that you're using it, when you do build, when you start to earn, you can go back anytime and get those certificates. Because on the site, it's registered that you have taken this course. It's just for you to now pay to get those certificates, which is about a token, right? That's one. Another aspect, I would say, that we have grossly not really explored, especially in Ebonyi State, is scholarships. And not just scholarships that are offered by Ebonyi State government or the Nigerian government, but scholarships that are offered globally, internationally, for students who can prove that they are worth the investment. So, you know how when we were younger, they're like, school is scam, because we were sold this story that Bill Gates did not go to school, and he built something that was very massive, and a lot of people just bought into that school is scam. I kid you not, school is not scam. There are lots of people, they're academics. A good example is my husband. My husband had a very, very unusual trajectory to becoming a professor, because he didn't even go to like regular secondary school. And this was when, we're talking about in the 80s and in the early 90s, right? He didn't go to school because he lost his dad and ventured into a lot of things. I think he wrote his first book about management when he was a teenager, around 17, that was used by the National Association of Management and all of that, which is how he became a member. This is before he wrote his GSC. That's what's called, right? Because he did not write WAEC. He wasn't going to, he had already done a lot of things more than the regular secondary school person had done. And so what he just did was, at the point where he was qualified by his age to take an exam, he would take the exam. And when he went on to do his master's, and this is how his university studies was too, his bachelor's, because he had written books that were being used in universities by university lecturers and by university students. So he didn't go through the regular trajectory. And in the UK, there are systems where if you work, if you have written books, if you have done certain research before then, they can add up to scores for you All you need to do is to submit those papers. And he was already working at Northern Rocks Bank. So he went on to a master's. And from master's, the university funded his PhD. And that's how he became like the youngest professor ever from Ebonyi State, because he became a professor at 37. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there are different paths for you to get to grow as a person and to achieve growth. I myself, last year, I got a scholarship to go study nanoscience in Spain, and only came back last year, right, in 2023. And the funniest thing is that I've worked everywhere, honestly. I had worked before I went to university and got funded. I got sponsored through my university. Basically, my parents have never paid school fees from university level. And even in secondary school, I did get like half scholarship, right? So I got scholarship from the oil company that I was working with, and I was sent to serve here in Ebonyi State because my school made a mistake. They sent my state of origin as Delta State, and so they posted me to Ebonyi State. And then when I came here, did a couple of projects, partnered with like coppers who were here. We did the first STEM quiz competition here in Ebonyi State. We taught like school children, and after that, the government gave me an appointment. The cabinet office gave me an appointment, and so I worked with the government. And then when my boss, former SSG, Odo, resigned, I went back to Lagos. I went back to the oil company that I was working with, and I've done like business development, I've led teams, and then after all of these years, about 9 years after finishing from university, I have always just been interested in my STEM. I would do like research in my STEM whilst doing business. And you know what? I said, I'm going back to the sciences. And so I came back after how many years and applied for a scholarship, and I got the scholarship. And that's unusual, because most schools, when they want to give you scholarship, they have to consider the fact that you can actually thrive in the postgraduate environment, which means that if you have stayed away too long from school, then there's a bit of a challenge in awarding you a scholarship, because how do they know that you can actually come in, be able to finish from this course, especially a course like nanoscience, which is not even very popular even in Europe or in the West. It's not the most it's not the course that people are putting head into, you know, doing quantum physics and quantum mechanics and stuff like that. But I got that scholarship. And that's because when I came down to Ebonyi, when I decided to go back to school, I decided to move back to Ebonyi. Lagos is too crazy. The environment will not enable me to really think and strategize. So I came down to Ebonyi to strategize. One of the things my husband did for me was that he paid me salary for that period. Of course, like if you have people supporting you, it really goes a long way, right? And so when I came back, the strategy was for me to take courses, mock, like these massive open online courses, that's what it's called. I took 3 courses on Coursera, and I took 1 course that I applied to with one Spanish organization, and it was a virtual course. They gave a scholarship. I was one of the scholars, and then I took that course. So I took 4 courses, and I proved to them that between 2021, that I stopped working, to 2023 that I applied, I had taken 4 courses in this area that meant that I could start and finish, and that I was eager to get back into the academic environment. And I wrote this in my essay. I wrote it. I talked about why I even came to the point of wanting to study nanoscience, how I want to solve problems here, and how I have taken steps to be able to get you to say yes. So I'm trying to say that there are opportunities where you can get funded. You would live here, go to Europe, they will pay for your visa, they will pay for your flight, they will pay for your accommodation, they will pay for your feeding, and all you need to do is to learn and improve yourself. These opportunities exist.
Wow.
And something we're doing with Cafe Scientific Woman is that we're also coaching people on how to be able to access these opportunities. So there are loads of opportunities. And with AI, ChatGPT, go on ChatGPT. The area where you want to improve yourself, tell ChatGPT that you want to go and do your master's, and you want to do it fully funded. You want to do it in so and so countries, if you already know the countries, or in so and so region. I want to do it in South Africa. I want to do it in Europe. I want to go to the US, or I want to go to North America. What are the scholarships that are available? What do they look for those scholarships? Because you see, writing essays for those scholarships, they're another thing. There's some scholarships that if you tell them you want to finish studying and come back to Africa, they will never give you that scholarship. Why? Because they have invested all this money on you and you want to come back to Nigeria. You don't want to add all of that investment to their own. And there are some scholarships that if you mention that you will not come back here, you will never get that scholarship. Like Chevening, but Erasmus, if you mention you're coming back here, you're not getting it. So there are definitely tricks. So you need to use AI. Now that's where you have an advantage. Asking AI, like, what are they looking for in this scholarship? Then you can now write your own statement of purpose. So we have this coaching, and honestly speaking, I just wanted to open your mind to the fact that there are boundless opportunities, and they're not just local to the state or to the nation, but even global, and you can access it, from the comfort of your computers.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. So she really, really expounded on that, and I hope that we actually learned everything that she spoke about. So we have 2 questions here to you, Ma. So from my perspective, I think the first question here is what she just finished talking about, and the person says, how can a starter or struggling business owner access grants, loans, and all of that? And then the person said, elaborate life examples where someone in Abakaliki can access such money.
Oh, okay. So I will give an example. I told you that I am the CEO of Ikele Chogba Foundation, and in May, we did give grants to 5 businesses here in Ebonyi State. I think 500,000 naira to each of the businesses, and even for the people who didn't win, we ended up giving 100,000 and some 250,000 to one of them. And so this really small scale, but there are lots of those types of opportunities here in Nigeria alone. Like you're applying and you're just showing certain organizations that your business truly is solving people's needs. And you can also show that you would be able to put in all of the efforts, and you'll be able to put in every measure to ensure that the money that they give you translates into bettering the community, the society, the nation, or even across borders. So, and this is just even here in Ebonyi State, right? At national level, coincidentally, Chimdi is my teammate, and Chimdi has won like multiple grants, from here, applying for national grants, and then there are global grants. But the important thing, like I said, is that you build this business and you understand what kind of problem you want to solve. First of all, you have to identify a need. If there's no need, if you do not understand the problem that you should be solving, you shouldn't even start the business in the first place. When you do understand the need, now you ask yourself, where do you want to go with your business? And I think Uche gave a good example when he talked about Jumia and Amazon. And you can see that for Nigeria and Africa, Jumia was just okay. But the moment that they wanted to go global, then there was a problem. So, and all of this determines how you build your business. And you still have to refer to those books. Thing is that if you want to be a change maker, you want to change things, you want to do big things, you've got to read. You've got to read. And you have to go to rooms and environments that encourages you to see, to not see boundaries, to see possibilities, right? And then when you do that, when you have built the business, then you can use all of the tools that are available, like ChatGPT. Honestly speaking, some days on my to-do, I have days where chat is like gist with ChatGPT. It's wild. And like I ask you question like we're friends, and I'm like, really? Can this really happen? Oh, I saw this paper, and I attached the paper. I saw this paper, and this is what this paper is saying. And then we're going back and forth. There's that tool that has, much more accuracy or has access to a lot of other materials that I ordinarily cannot read as a person. cannot read as many of those materials, and I ask you to do those things for me. And then looking at those things, that's what we already talked about, contextualizing, bringing it down to the environment, to where you are solving that problem. And then even putting out things in the language that the people understand. So at the end of the day, with ChatGPT, you can even ask it for grants. You can ask it for, where can I find angel investors? You know, how do I go about it? Ask it. As stupid as that might sound, ask ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT, in fact, hey, I want to start this type of business. This is the problem that I have identified, and I want to serve these types of customers, but I do not have the funding. How do I access funding? And to give you a couple of options, you look at those options and you look at what you can work on, or you ask it as well, like, what do I need so that if I send an application, I stand a chance of getting it? It will tell you, honestly, all the documents that you need. And then you now check, which documents do I already have? Which ones do I need to get? That's where all those massive open online courses that we have talked about comes in, and even some regular traditional courses that you can take. Then you can go level up. So now on your timeline, you have that in 6 months, I should have gotten from this place to this place. These are the things that I need. This is what I have to do in 1 month. This is what I have to do in 3 months. This is what I have to do in 6 months. This is when I will submit. I would be eligible for this round. I will not be eligible for the next year's round, and you can plan accordingly. So, yeah.
Okay. So if you're the person that asked that question, I hope you got your answer. All right, this is the last question. And the person says, still to you, Ma. Please, can you help mentor anyone in this hall that is willing for mentorship? That's the question.
I honestly don't know about personal mentorship right now, because there's a lot, and I already have a couple of mentees. But then what we're trying to do is that we're trying to walk the talk, which is building systems so that we can reach a lot more people. So even with the Ike Lechogba Foundation and with the Cafe Scientific Woman, we're having like lots of programs and lots of events. I think there are monthly business talks or something like that that's coming up. So you can tune in as well.
Yes, so sorry, just to bring in, at the Ike Lechogba Foundation, we are focused on empowering African communities across entrepreneurship, education, and culture. And so based on our education, our entrepreneurship angle, we are organizing like business webinars. One will be coming up this next week, Saturday. So follow us on Instagram. We'll be sharing details. So this particular class about the question about grants, we'll be having a session breaking down grants and what you need to access grants. So follow us on Instagram and reach out to Victoria. Anyone who wants to get further information, please reach out to Victoria. She's our intern, and get further information on that.
Yeah. So to the person who asked the question, unfortunately, as at now, personally, no. But definitely, you will still have access to all of the mentorship materials that you need if you join those classes that have been curated to reach a lot more people.
Okay, please, a round of applause. So she actually has been and is still thinking about, you know, helping people and all of that. So you just take advantage of the systems available. Okay, Sarah, is there anything you want to say, because we are done with this particular session?
Okay, I want to say two things before we end. The first one is this. A wise man once said that if dreaming is free of charge, you might as well dream up a storm. If Africa is to become what we envision for it to become, economically and politically, every single one of you must take responsibility for birthing that reality. It is no longer enough to start a mediocre business. There is nothing like Abakaliki standard. There is nothing like Nigerian standard. There is nothing like African standard. There is only something that is excellent, and there is something that is mediocre. It's either it is excellent or it is mediocre. My encouragement to everyone here, every single one of you, is that as you live here today, ask yourself a very simple question. How do I take advantage of all the resources that I will gain access to and that I have access to in the 21st century to build something that is excellent? Because at the end of the day, if Africa is to emerge, the responsibility is in the hands of the young people. Then secondly, I forgot to mention when you asked the last question about scholarship that one youth just flagged off their university scholarship, undergraduate scholarship. So we give scholarships to university students. We have scholars across different universities in Nigeria currently. What it means is that if you're in first year or in second year, you can actually go online and apply. And when you get our scholarship, your school fees is covered. We also pay you living allowance every month. And we give you a laptop because we want to integrate you into the 21st century digital economy. There are a lot of resources like that available. My encouragement to every young person here is that you look around you, ask questions, take advantage of these opportunities. I mentioned this before and I will end on this note. The World Bank projects that by 2050, Africa will have the largest workforce in the world. The continent will increase by over 800 million people by 2050. This is what we know today. What we know today is that most African young people need to leave the continent in order to make ends meet. Most African young people need to emigrate in order to build brands that will stand the test of time. I forgot to mention Andela when I was making my comparison about global and local businesses. Most businesses that are thriving in Africa that are supposedly Nigerian-owned are not registered in Nigeria, which means that most of their tax remittances go abroad. They are registered in Delaware because Delaware gives them tax break for 3 years, and then after 3 years, they start paying taxes. By 3 years, those companies must have scaled, and when they scale, they begin to remit taxes to those foreign countries. Andela, as of 2022, was worth $1.6 billion. $1.6 billion US dollars, Andela. But Andela is not registered here. In 2020, when NSAS protest was going on, there was a big play in the African tech space. A company called Paystack. How many of you here know Paystack? You use that to make payments online, right? Paystack was sold to a parent company called Stripe. Stripe bought Paystack for 200 million pounds. Paystack was not registered in Nigeria. So while we were jubilating that a company had just sold for 200 million pounds, the question was, how much of that money was remitted to the Nigerian economy? How much of that money was remitted to the Nigerian economy? When we say that Africa is in a precarious moment, that is what we mean. The biggest economy in Africa currently, Uncle Ray, you know these things, is South Africa. GDP of 300 and something billion. Dallas alone, Dallas has a population of roughly less than 9 million people, has a GDP of 700 billion. Which means that the local government chairman of Dallas, Dallas is not a state, it's a city in Texas, it's a local government area in Texas. What it means is that the local government chairman of Dallas sits on a bigger economy than the biggest economy in Africa, than the president of South Africa. Needless to say that the economy of Nigeria is less than 300 billion. So with all the total gaga that Tinubu is doing, the local government chairman of Dallas sits on a bigger economy than the president of Nigeria. You see, when people like P2B say that the problem is not that people are sharing national cake, that the problem is that the cake is too small, that is what it means, what he means. But when I work with young people, the reason for me, especially young people in Africa, the reason for me is because I've seen it happen time and time again, that the people who lift a nation, a continent out of poverty are the young people, not the old people. As of today, every single minute of the day, Walmart is a store in America, a mall in America. Walmart makes $1.2 million every single minute of the day. What it means is that their annual revenue is bigger than the total annual revenue of about 50% of African countries put together. Only Walmart. My dear brothers and sisters, I want to extend an invitation to every one of you to take advantage, take responsibility for your own education. And when you educate yourself now, don't educate yourself just to earn degrees. She has already talked about the fact that if you go on some of these platforms, you can learn without getting a certificate. Learn because you want to solve a problem. The world has shifted from what do you want to be tomorrow to which problem do you want to solve when you grow up. Quite a number of those who are here are in the medical field. Some of you want to become doctors, some of you nurses. Some of you researchers in the health sector. Out of every 10 human beings who suffer from malaria in the world, 3 of them live in Nigeria. Out of every 10 human beings who suffer from malaria in the whole world, 3 of them live in Nigeria because Nigeria bears 30% of the global malaria burden. That's the state of emergency. So I'm speaking to young people. I don't think there is anybody here, apart from the speakers, who is more than 60 years old. Majority of those who transformed China were in their 30s and 40s when they did it. 20s, 30s, and 40s. Lee Kuan Yew, when he traveled back from the UK to Malaya at the time, and then the letter broke out to Singapore. At that time, the 1940s, the guy was in his 30s. When Mahatma Gandhi was leading India to independence, he was a young person. When Kwame Nkrumah was fighting for the independence of Ghana, he was a young person. When Thomas Sankara was taking his neck out for the liberation of Burkina Faso, he was a young person. As a matter of fact, during the civil war that lasted from 1967 to 1970, majority of those who fought that war, the people who led the war, Ojukwu and Gowon, both of them were less than 35. Apostle Paul will say to Timothy, let not man despise your youth. It is no longer enough for us to march the streets and cry for opportunities. We must take responsibility for our education, create opportunities ourselves, and begin to solve problems within our communities. Otherwise, it is not my fault that I have to live in America today to make ends meet. It's not your fault that you have to travel to the UK to make ends meet. But it will be your fault if your children and your children's children still have to complain about the same problems that you are complaining about today. We must invest our youth, and we must take responsibility for our development. Thank you very much for listening to me, and God bless you.
I'm speechless. Please, a round of applause again, please, for our panelists. Thank you so much, Mar. Beautiful, Mar. Thank you so much, sir. Please, can you, I don't know if you mind telling us your social media handles where we can reach you, you know, maybe on LinkedIn, on Instagram, so that we can actually follow what you do and then learn from.
Okay, my handle on LinkedIn is Choma Aja, my maiden name. And same thing on Instagram. Instagram is _Choma Aja, and Facebook, I think, also is Choma Aja. So
okay. So you can go check her out, and then for
sorry, you can actually follow Ike Lichogba Foundation at Ike Lichogba Foundation. I think on LinkedIn it's Ike Lichogba Foundation as well, but on X it's at IEO Foundation, and Cafe Scientific Woman is on Instagram, so it's just Cafe Scientific Woman. So if you pretty much just type in the name in full, you would get the.
Okay, thank you so much, Mar.
And Wilson is laughing. Okay, he's laughing because I'm not on any social media platform. I'm not. But you can always follow One Youth Global on Instagram, One Youth Global on Facebook, and One Youth Global on LinkedIn. We also have a Twitter platform, and we have TikTok as well. When you follow us there, you'll be able to keep track of all our programs. We usually organize platforms that give out grants, scholarships, and the rest of them for young people. We've been doing that since 2022 now, by God's grace. and we've scaled significantly. Next year, we are going to West and Central Africa. I always encourage those who live in Ebonyi State to take advantage of each of the opportunities we create, and the reason is because I'm from Ebonyi State. It's selfish, I know, but thank you very much for indulging me.
All right, please.
And then if you want to follow me personally, the only place you can find me will be on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I don't post on LinkedIn, so I don't know how you're going to do it. But you can always message me. If you message me, I will certainly respond. You can also message me on WhatsApp. The best way to get a hold of me is to find someone who is already in hold of me. Someone like Wilson or Nestor or any of the One Youth guys here. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Okay, so thank you. Please, a round of applause. I beg. We can't be tired of clapping because too much value. Please, a round of applause as they go back to their seats. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the afternoon.
All right, thank you very much. Can we give a round of applause for that session? Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. I don't know about you, but I heard a lot. I heard a lot from that session, and I'm going to make a confession, right? While the panel was going on, I was deleting some apps from my phone. I was just sitting there. While it was going on, I was deleting some. Okay, let's go and gist with ChatGPT. Please, can we clap for them again? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, can you just take 2 seconds, turn to the person by your side, say, it's time to take responsibility. 2 seconds. Loud, the person did not hear. Yes, thank you so much. And also, when one of our panelists was speaking, she made emphasis on the reading culture, okay? And for this specific reason, we have a stand at the back. You could get books and reach your mind as the event progresses. Well, we also have a networking, right, and lunch break coming up after the next speaker. So for those of us who may have questions that have not been answered, we can also take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you very much as we get ready to welcome the last speaker for the morning section and then take the break. Ladies and gentlemen, Raymond Okpani is a global leadership consultant, personal brand strategist, international speaker, and author. He is the founder of Youth Spark Pan Africa, a global community of emerging leaders. With over 10 years of experience across the private, non-governmental, and public sectors, Raymond has consulted and helped hundreds of individuals, NGOs, and corporate organizations to attain peak performance and strategic results across different industries. He is the author of 2 books, including Passion to Profit Mastery, which serves as a practical guide, tool, and resource for transforming ordinary individuals into profitable brands. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Raymond Okpani. Welcome. Keep clapping till he gets here. That's our culture. Keep clapping till he gets here. Don't stop. You are stopping. Keep clapping. Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good to be here. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'm supposed to be tired right now because, while people are greeting and trying to find what time of the day is, my mind is actually operating from 9 hours ahead because in Vladivostok, in Russia, where I came in from, it's 9 hours ahead. So if it is, what's the time now? So this is about 1 p.m. now. So that means it's about 10 p.m. So that's like when you're about to sleep, right? So I'm still feeling some form of jet lag. But I'm really very excited to be here. What I'm about to do in the next couple of minutes I'll just try to mess up with your sensibilities. A lot has been happening today. I've been learning a whole lot. But let's give a round of applause to the panelists. Let's give a whole round of applause to the panelists. While they were speaking, I just felt like, man, let me just stay here and just be writing because I love writing. From you, thank you so much. You said something. In fact, at the point I had to talk to Chimdi. I'm like, these people are setting a precedence for my session actually because environment is so powerful. I mean, you repeated that on several times. I just pinpointed that. I'm like, these people don't know that these are the secrets actually. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Thank you so much, Uche. I heard about Uche Abu I can't remember when anyway, but I'm one person that have this personal philosophy and believe that if I'm connected with you, we don't need to force it. We are going to connect anyhow. So it's my first time meeting him. So when he came to greet me and he was like, Uncle Ray, I'm like, I didn't even know he was the one until they mentioned his name. So let's give a round of applause to Uche Abo. Thank you so much. Of course, Coach Ezekiel is out of here. It's really a great sacrifice for him to have flown down all the way from Rwanda to be here. I respect him so much. Thank you so much, Mr. T.A. See, I first heard about you from Wilson, actually. You know, when he gets to post some of your, I don't follow him, but I get to consume his content. He's one of the deepest thinkers that I know. I used to ask myself, who is this man? He's not like one celebrity that, people are making noise and chasing clouds and all that, but trust me, what he puts out is huge. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Tola Alabi. And of course, everyone that is here, please, can we just stand up to give an ovation to Wilson? I organize international event. I know what it means for you guys to be here. Let's clap for him for making this happen. Let's clap for him. Wilson, thank you so much. I am so very proud of you. In fact, on my phone, let's sit down, please. I was looking at my phone, a message he sent to me one time, and I sent him something. I said, it took you 3 years. Only 3 years it took you to be here. I said, now imagine what can happen in the next 10 years. This year alone, he's been to Qatar. How many of you guys know that he's been to Qatar? Wilson is now an international somebody. He's been to Qatar, he's been to Singapore, he's seeing things now at a different level. Today, I'm going to try to share with you guys, try to get a couple of you guys very uncomfortable, but don't worry, it's going to also help you to take, okay, I have a slide here. Okay, that's fine. If I have a slide here, that works. This hall was where my journey began. And so all the while I've been here, it's been really very emotional for me. For all of you that know about Raymond Okpani, of course, we have Youth Spark Pan-Africa. Now we have almost over 10,000 young people across 35 countries. I'm privileged to have visited a couple of countries, about 23 now. Everything started right here in this hall. And so each time I come to a place like this, and I see people that are seated like this, don't worry, just follow me. I'll tell you next slide you go. So each time I sit down, I come to a place like this, and then I see people that are disciplined to sit down to learn. First thing for me, it is a proof that these people are going to succeed, because you probably could have been anywhere else. True or false? Please walk with me. True or false? You could have been any other place, but you decided to be here. Some of you had to pay money and all that. Trust me, it is not out of the ordinary. The money you pay to come here, I can promise you, is going to be the least you're going to pay, because you're going to desire for more places and you're going to pay bigger money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Ezekiel that came here to talk to you guys, to be in his mastermind, Wilson is there, he knows. It's $20,000 to be there. $20,000. It's not paper money, you pay it cash, right? That's about 30 million, I think. Okay. I'm just a very local somebody, so nothing happens, we are just there. My name is Raymond Okpani, and next slide. Next slide. Now, before I go, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, just repositioning yourself, how to reposition yourself for global relevance. Now, a lot of people know my name, Raymond Okpani, but not a lot of you know my story. How many of you know my story? Please, I need you guys to work with me. I'm not eating somebody. I said, I'm here, I'm from Ebonyi, I'm from Africa South, I'm here, they speak Igbo language. Don't worry. The fact that I came back from Europe for this is not anything, it's just distance, it's just interflight, you go. My younger sister was telling me that they cannot believe that not too long ago, I was in this country, and now I'm here, they can touch me. I say it's just distance, just interflight, even though it can be tiring, because I was flying for almost 27 hours, right? Next slide. Now, what many of you people may not know about me is that I was out of school for 14 years after I left secondary school. And it wasn't because I could not read and pass exam. I left secondary school as the senior prefect. I was on scholarship most part of my senior school, most of my senior secondary school days. I was teaching mathematics and biology. I learned mathematics alone. I was teaching my classmates. I was teaching the seniors that were humble enough to learn mathematics because they must pass it in their WAEC, and I was teaching the SS1. So I didn't really, I was one of the A class students, finished as a senior prefect. But it took me 14 years. All my dreams of going to study medicine. Now, I lived in this Abakaliki for 10 years. I had zero skill. Some of you even know how to do basic stuff. I did not know anything. I was privileged to have also worked in this state. I was 22 when I became the SA to the head of service without a university degree, and I worked with government for 6 years. Follow this story. What I want to do, when I was coming back, I was landing in Nigeria, I was just telling God that what I have just come to do is to give back the same thing that he gave me that bettered the Raymond that people talk about. And so I do not even expect everybody's life to change after my destiny. It can just even be one person. Now, even that one person, it may not be today. It may not be 1 week. It may not be 2 weeks. It may not even be this year. But a day will just come, and the chord just strikes, and your own starts. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so, having served as the SA to the head of service, I volunteered with an organization, just be following keywords that I'm saying. I picked environment from you. The spoken word person spoke about you have to have ambition to change the world. I wrote it down. Uche spoke a lot about choices. I wrote it down. So just be picking out something that may work for you. So in this same Abakaliki like this, I was ejected from my house twice. What does it mean? It means that I was living in a place I couldn't afford to pay. Rent was 30,000 naira per year. I couldn't pay. I was ejected from the place. I managed to get another place. I stayed there. I was ejected again. I traveled out of Nigeria for the first time in 2017. I will tell you guys, I'm not sure I'll go through those details, but I'm trying to just paint a picture for you guys. And over these years, I've been invited by presidents of nations, actual presidents, not presidents of association, actual presidents. You know, during my time in Russia, I was invited by the Russian presidency, and then we were in a meeting like this where President Vladimir Putin was there, and he was talking to us. And I was just wondering and thinking in my head, is it not this same guy that could not pay his rent, that could not go to school? How is it that you are in a room with one of the most powerful persons in the world? Now, having not gone to school for 14 years, you said something that was very, very vital. Ezekiel said that thing, very, very vital, which was why I decided to now go to school. When I wanted to go to school, I didn't go to school because I wanted to prove a point, because me, I know say I sabi book. So I was not going to prove a point that I can read and write exam. No. By the time I decided to travel abroad to study, I had already built a successful organization. I've already traveled to different countries. I've been invited by the president, Paul Kagame, to speak in an event of over 10,000 people from 92 countries. So I was doing well, as it were. So what Ezekiel said was actually why I decided to go study abroad, the quality of network. I made up my mind that, okay, if I've spent 14 years before going to school, then I'm going to go to school at a level where I can cover up faster. Next slide. At the end of the day, it took me 18 years, because eventually, yes, I went to school, studied what I like, what has impacted on the, reinforced what I started doing in 2013. But then, ultimately, it took 18 years for me to get a university degree. Now, why is it important that you listen to my grammar? Please, I may not speak the one that appeals to you. Like I said, I did not go to school for a long time, so I'm still learning to adjust myself. Now, the reason why you should listen to me is that by God's grace, I've been privileged to learn from the best in the world. At a point in my life, I served as the personal aide to Dr. Miles Monroe. I was not a university graduate. And so there are principles that I learned from these people that helped to power up what I wanted to do when it started. So some of the best persons in the world, you could see Chief Mrs. Sugonachi, who was my boss. I'm grateful to God for her wherever she is. Fela Durote, amazing people that I've been privileged to learn from direct. Next slide. Now, having said all these things, here is the real question. Do you now want me to be real with you people, or do you want me to do aspire to perspire? Should we do aspire to perspire? We can do it. I will be giving you people quotations, where to go and find it in dictionary. Okay, let's get real now. Next slide. How many of you know this place? How many of you know this place? You know this place? This is right here in this hall. It was here that my journey began. Next slide. How did it begin? How many of you know that person at the other side? Okay, you guys cannot see this stuff. So now on that slide, it's Ezekiel that just left here. I met Ezekiel right here in this hall. In 2017, he was invited to come and, train workers here. By the way, I worship here. And so he came then to teach us on productivity. It was not even a spiritual anything, just how to be a productive person and all that. And when he finished, he had a book. The name of that book is The Entrepreneur with the Power to Change the World, something like that. And he gave us an opportunity to get that book. Guess what? I could not afford it. The book was $5,000. Now, to get that book, you had to be in a WhatsApp group. I think at the end of everything was $13,000 or so. I could not afford it. And it was you get the book, and then he will now stay with us for some while and, train us and all what. I, who did not have money to buy that, I don't know how I gathered myself. I couldn't afford that. The little one I got, I called him and I started begging him. I said, please, there is no way I cannot be in that place. I beg you in the name of God. I've run, when you are running and you are sweating, it's like you are missing deadline. If you are going to the airport and they say boarding gate is going to close in the next 60 seconds, that's when you know that you can run. When I was coming back to Nigeria from Cyprus, I missed my flight by less than 7 minutes check-in. And just that less than 7 minutes cost me $680. The consequence was over $1 million. Just by wasted time. So I eventually pleaded with him and he gave me the book. Since that time till now, I have not seen any other person that went through that process then that is as close to Ezekiel now than me. When we attend conference like this, now when we go now, you may not see any other person again for the next 5 years. Some of you that are core members, maybe you are posted to one place, posted like this, scattered everywhere. You may not see the person again for the next 10 years. That was what happened. Next slide. Now, at the extreme is me and Ezekiel. Me and Ezekiel, we have met in almost every country. That's in the UK. But one day he had to make a post to say, this guy Raymond, almost in every country we have met. There's no country. Anyway, either I go to that country, by the time I come back, he will be invited to that country. Or he will go to the country, by the time he comes back, something will just happen. I'll go there. Now, my aim is, at the end of my presentation is to get all of us to focus on what is working and not waste time to focus on what is not working. It's not important. We already know that some things are working, some things are not working. So what's the essence of wasting time on what is not working? Are you guys with me? Please, if you are angry with me at any time, just let me know you are angry. I promise you, I will step down. Next slide. I want to talk about what I have come to know as first generation royalty. Now, many of you people are here. I will read what is on that place so that you guys can see what is there. The slide is not changing here. I don't know why. You see, many of you people are here because you are the first person in your entire lineage desiring whatever that made you to come here. You want to achieve a dream that nobody, you have checked your paternal side, you have checked your maternal side, nobody. In fact, you are coming from a place where the people that went to school, they say, oh, go to school. The people that went to school, they don't have job. The ones that have job is as if they are just useless. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. They say, oh, it's by going to school. Okay, they have gone to school, they have a university degree, but they don't have job. The ones that have job, they are not paying them. And so you are now the one that is now fighting to break out of that particular place. That's what we call first generation reality. Me, I'm in that WhatsApp group. Next slide. You see, this was me on the last day in secondary school where we had just finished writing WAEC. in 2007. And I decided to take pictures. By the way, I document a lot of pictures. For those of you that don't like taking pictures, I don't know me. When it starts getting hot, I just fall back to my memories. I go back and check where I'm coming from. That's the only way you cannot commit suicide. Do you understand? That's the only way you can, because you check when things you are tough. Now check when things you are working well. Now check, you'll be like, okay, whatever I did that things you are working, let me go back to that place. My goal is to get you to make progress against all odds without needing to wait for 18 years. The toughest thing I've ever had to face in my life was not going to school when my mates were going to school. And so if you are already in school, the best thing you want to do for yourself is to make sure that you are coming out at top. There's a difference between just going to school and graduating than going. And Ezekiel told you guys that he had to be brilliant because he gets to choose the people that are his friends. If you have already graduated, glory to God. But it also means that there is also another level where you can also reinvent your life as well and start from there. It took me 18 years. But within those 18 years, I was not useless with my life. I was doing something. Next slide. Uche said something about the fact that, sometimes we lie to ourselves a lot. They will always tell us, so your excuses are valid. But your excuses are lies. And Ezekiel made an analogy and said, listen, you will never know how much you can actually do until a lion starts pursuing you. So he said, I don't have strength. Until you are passing one street and one dog that is untrained shows up. All your excuses that I'm tired now vanishes. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so you must have to find a way to make results. We tell ourselves so many excuses. I say by the time I finish talking to you people, you ask yourself, some of you have parents that are giving you money. You have uncles that you can call. I never had anyone. I have 6 siblings. I'm the first son. So you know what it means. If you're the first son, you didn't go to school. But being the fact that you are from Igbo people now, the Okpara syndrome, so you have to find a way. Okay, you didn't go to school now, you can't find a job that other people are finding. Oh, you didn't have a skill, so how do you now make money? I know they do Yahoo, I know they do betting, I know they do gambling. You see, it becomes more difficult. Let's make results. Tell your neighbor, make results. Now, let me tell you guys about effects that's changed my life. First is that you have to decide that you're tired. Everything that you have done that brought you to this point have not given you the result that you want. You have to get tired. That was what the 4 lepers did. They decided that they are tired of staying here. That if they have to go back to where they are coming from, it's obvious that it is where they are coming from that nothing is working. So there's no point going back there. Okay, if we decide to stay here now, we have been here for so long. If it is a woman, if it is not a woman, it is. And you know that what they are saying is not leading to where you want to go. As a first generation royalty, why are you there? You are with people that every time you get into their space, you know that your energy, the Bible says that it is the Spirit of God in us that bears us witness. So you have a spirit that is telling you that these people are not connected to where I'm going. So why are you there? By the time I was going to reinvent my life, I moved out from, I was squatting with my friends, some of my friends then. Amazing people, fantastic people. Till tomorrow, those guys will continue to be my top guys. But when it was time for me to move, I had to leave them because they were all in school. And 80% of them are medical students. They are medical doctors now. So you know the difficulty of you with all your intelligence. You are in the midst of your 8 friends. And now it is time for them to do discussion. Discussion is when medical students want to study. And then you are the only one that will have to excuse them because you are the burden in that group. So if you are discussing something that is very, very beautiful, and all of a sudden they say, time have reached to study, and you must have to excuse them. It is painful going out with your brain, knowing that you can study what the same thing they are doing. The 4 lepers decided that it was time to move. This place is not healthy. You have been hearing, go and learn a skill, go and learn a skill, go and learn a skill. You say no. Okay, till now you have not achieved anything. Why are you still holding it? Do you know the capacity that you have? Before, I used to think that what's the essence of paying 35,000 naira to enter flight? Do you know that I was telling Weston, I said, this thing, whatever you are doing here, I hope you know that this is not the least that will ever happen. Not because I was praying for him. Because just by doing this, there is now something that will not get inside him to want to desire more. It's not a spiritual something. I'm not even trying to do Bible. I'm saying that is why you see people that are unbelievers, they are succeeding because there is something they know that you yourself, with all your speaking in tongues, you cannot convert it into results. And that gets me so angry when I come back to Nigeria. And so, your spirituality should be able to convert into something that is tangible. It should reflect in your lifestyle. It should reflect in your character. It should reflect in how you are kind. It should reflect in how you are supporting other people. It should reflect on how you want to be part of something that is moving. It should reflect on how you are showing information. Most Christians are some of the biggest hoarders of information. I live in countries where even when a woman is pregnant, they are excited to share. Not because they want to fly. Like, good news is a normal thing. I love what you are saying. Get into an environment where you don't have to think about what is not working. It is possible to do that. The 4 lepers. You ask yourself where you are now, do you like it? And if you don't like it, it means it's time to move. Next slide. Now, nobody is coming to save you. There is a price to pay and there is no shortcut. I will go to the Bible and show you people something that happened to me there, around that staircase. November 19th, 2019, at that place. So I was praying there, and one scripture came to my mind. That scripture, now, I'm sorry if you are not a Christian here. I mean, no apologies, but trust me, what I want to say is powerful. Your husband was talking about, Jacob and Esau and all that. I was like, these people, is it like they monitored me from wherever I'm coming from? There's something that happened there that changed my life. Jacob came and collected the blessing. Am I correct? Am I correct? I'm not the hear voice. Una the verse. Jacob collected the blessing, Abi. You guys remember that Esau came and started asking, and the father said it has finished. You guys remember? That's in Genesis, I think 40 verse 27 or 27 verse 40, thereabout. Listen, the father said to him, he said, as it is now, by design, the way it has been structured now, till Jesus come, you are going to be the servant to your brother. It has nothing to do with anything. He said that's the way it has been structured. The pillar has been set. Now you go to serve your brother. I don't know what I can do again. He now said, but wait, you can still do something about it. He said, the time will come when you, some translation will say, when you get restless, when you are tired. This thing I said now that is only your brother that will be your leader. He said, you get tired. He said, it is only you that will break the yoke off your neck. It happened to me there. Guys, as Nigerians, there is a design. I've been to 23 countries around the world. I've sat down with global leaders across different parts of this world. I organize events like this. People come from different countries to sit like this with me. You need to have at least 2.5 million. I'm not joking. How many of you guys know about USPAC? So you pay $800 first. Then you now go and now look for money and buy flight tickets. So your $800 is not part of your ticket. I'm telling you people that as Nigerians, there is a design that even your prayer, even your prayer cannot help you. What that prayer is expected to do is to help you get restless and now do what you need to do. You're following what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you like, go and be sleeping in, go and be knitting. I just told you from scripture now that there's a correlation. You must get tired. Because last week, Shebi, they banned Nigerians from Dubai. Everybody switched to Qatar. Are you aware now that every male Nigerian now that is 35 below and not married, you cannot collect a tourist visa to Qatar? So what it means as it is now, thank God for your life. Because if it was now, you pray up and down, nothing, they don't close their door. What is that making? The Bible says that when an axe is dull, you're going to put more strength. So what's happening now is that those of us that are genuine are having to now show more effort to convince you that, don't worry, we are not the people that used to cause problem. Nobody's coming to save you. You are the one that will get tired. That revelation came to me there. I sat down and I knew that my life was doomed if I did not change it myself. They are telling you to read. You think, oh, I read, what is reading? You mentioned it plenty. They think is, yesterday I came back with this current book now, Femi Otedola's book now, that when it came out, some poor people that cannot even afford to buy internet data were saying, well, what am I going to learn from him? He didn't suffer anything. He came from a wealthy home. I said, that's why you no get money. That's why you no get shishi. A billionaire wrote something. This is where you can find the greatest part of people's brain cells. And you are saying that there is nothing inside. That's the book I'm reading now. Guess what? I've not even entered chapter 1. I'm already like, are you serious? You have to change your life by yourself. Next slide. You see, this is not my quote. I'm going to be referring this was spoken to me by Ezekiel. Ezekiel is for a very long time I struggled to openly admit that he's my mentor, but there's no other person. He's the only person that me and him were very close, even though he takes me like a brother. But me, I tell him, see, leave this brother thing. Me, I know where we start. They travel, everything. But don't worry. Ezekiel said this. He said, there will always be things to worry about. Just make sure they are not small things. There will always be things to worry about. See, if it is whether worry, we they get worry. Me now, I'm done with my program now. I was hearing now talking about scholarship now. I need a scholarship now to go. I don't even want to do masters. I want to use my BS to go and do direct PhD. That's how angry I am. Now, many people don't know that with your BSc, you can actually go and do direct PhD. At no cost, they'll be even giving you money every month. You'll be grateful to God. But if they tell you to go and get a passport now, you say you're waiting for it to get cheaper. There will always be things to worry about. So you are not the only person facing problems. The only issue is that you are worrying about things that does not make sense. You are focusing on things that are useless. Are you the only person that has a problem? Do you know the mental pressure it has to take me to remain sane and not to put my hand into any bad thing? As a young Nigerian like this, the way I'm talking, it doesn't look like I miss my way, Abi. They are building businesses, giving birth to you are in school. And I studied in a place where 70% of people there 70% of girls there are not there for school. 70% of boys there are into internet fraud. For you to stay in that place, study, and finish within time, and people are stuck there for 9 years. Thank you. Great. There will always be things to worry about. Make sure they are not small things. Next slide. And that is where vision comes in. How do you get a vision? It's because you are thinking small things. That's why you don't know what your vision is. Because vision is so big. It's not, you can't set a vision. A vision has to be too big that people have to tell you are mad. You don't know what you are doing. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? It's the foundation for positioning yourself. Next slide. I need to rush up. Now, this is another thing. Guys, me, what I want is that any other time you get to see me or send me a message or whatever, I need to know that there are things here that have moved in your life. Take this very serious. When you learn how to take care of small things in your life, your mind will be open to think about big things. How many of people guys have said at a time where you know you have like 100,000 that is not doing anything, and all of a sudden you are no longer hungry. Does it make sense? There is money that just came. It's not money to pay school fees. It's not money to pay rent. It's not money to do anything. This money is just my money. 200,000. I'm not in a hurry to use it. And then you are now staying in the evening. Somebody is telling you, let's go and eat. You are now remembering that I have not eaten. Are you serious? It's because when you have learned how to take care of small things, it is at that time that your mind opens to think about big things. The reason why we don't think big is because we are focused on thinking about small things. You understand what I'm saying? Anytime when they say think big, you are struggling to even know what is the thinking big. It's because you are focused so much on thinking about small things that your mind is not open to think about big things. And so this is the next thing that I did. And I'm going to go practical. Shebi will say we'll keep it real, Abi. I was owing a lot of people. You know when you are owing somebody for bread, and so you don't have 250 to pay back the money, but you have to go a longer route to go home because you don't have the money to pay. Do you guys connect to what I'm saying? I don't want lie for you people. Oh. You are owing somebody 1,000. It's a small money. You see that moment that you tell somebody, it's not just ordinary 1,000. But that ordinary 1,000 is ruining your relationship. Now you are avoiding the person. Maybe when you are avoiding the person, there was an opportunity that they were supposed to mention your name. They couldn't mention your name because you are owing 1,000 and you avoid it. So what did I do? I started clearing those tiny, tiny debts. Me, I prefer to owe you 10 million than to owe you 1,000 naira. Because the people that will give you the highest trouble is not the people who are owing big money, it's the people who are owing small money. So eliminate all those tiny, tiny things around you. You will not find out that you are thinking at a particular frequency that will change your life. I cleared those debts. I left my friends where I was squatting. I found a place. I didn't have foam. I was lying on the floor at VGC. I'm mentioning them so that people know that I really lived here at Democracy Estate. I was the only person that was not a student. It's a medical hostel. I was the only person that was not a student that was living there. So if I go there and I drink my gari and I come out, so my friends, even if they don't buy food till 4 o'clock, I'm not in a hurry to wait for when they will buy food. So if they are discussing anything, I'm still able to flow with them at the level that they are flowing. Learn how to take care of small things. Go and ask yourself, what are the tiny, tiny things that used to disturb you? It can be as little as this. It can be as little as leaving your parents' house to go and find the house, your space. Do you know what happens when you're in your space and you have a table? I didn't have anything. I had only one plastic table, one chair, and one board, white board. That was where I became. Take care of small things in your life. Identify them. It can be people, whatever. Once you take care of those things, your mind opens up without your permission to think about big things. Next slide. Now, we could talk about this. You have to, there's something called personal sovereignty. This is like about mastering the act of self-governance. And I said something there. Imagine and think about your life as a country. We're always quick to talk about what's happening in Nigeria, Abi. Let's imagine that you yourself, you are a nation. I'm giving you a practical mindset. If you wake up every day, it will be pursuing you like village people. You wake up in the morning and stretch. Your brain reminds you that you are a country called Raymond. How will you govern that your country? It will show in the kind of conversation you have. It will show in the things that you are doing, how you dress when you are going out. All those things will begin to reflect when you start seeing yourself as a nation. Sovereignty means a territory being able to have a power to control yourself. Next slide, I'm rushing. Of course, go back. There are a lot of things there. There is vision, there is clarity, there is all those things. Let's go. This is very, very powerful. When I came here, I have a jotter. In fact, that jotter is branded my name, Seth. You must learn to live your life by design. Ezekiel talked about living on your own terms. You must learn to live your life by design. Never leave your house any single day without having a mental picture of how that day will go. And how do you do that? I have jotters in my house where I design my life, my day, by the hours. I wake up in the morning, I sit down to design that I'm going to pray for 30 minutes. I'll do this one for this. I'll do this one for 1 hour. I'll call this person by this time. Those things have time, oh. Everything I want to do will be outlined. I will check email by this one, so and so time. I will do this one. I will write this. I will write that. Does it mean that I get to achieve them 100%? No. But it means that I'm able to account to myself why certain things are not happening in my life. I don't live a confused life. You know, if you ask me now, Raymond, where were you last week Wednesday by 4 o'clock? I'll quickly think, oh, last week Wednesday, I was in Vladivostok. It is so and so and so time. That means it is by this time in Nigeria. Okay, where am I? I will tell you where I was. So I do not live a life of waking up and I'm like, I don't even know what happened today. That's because you don't have a mental picture from the beginning. And if in any way you are not able to achieve those things, you are now able to tell yourself, okay, I wanted to pray for 30 minutes, but for some reason I prayed for 45 minutes. That's why it's now lapped into this. You can now find another place to either cover up or to leave it out. But whatever happens, you have a blueprint as to how you are living your life. I have that blueprint. You must live your life by design. Stop waking up every day and going out without knowing what is going to happen. Stop going out, waking up and living and just going anywhere because people are going. Let's go here, you are going. You need to consult and say, this place I'm going, how does it align with what I already have? Otherwise, people are going to use it to achieve their own dreams. Next slide. Get into the right association. Critical. If you guys follow Wilson, a few days ago, he posted something on his WhatsApp. He said, and we learned this from Ezekiel, and I keep mentioning his name because he's been a critical part of my journey. He said to succeed in this life, you must have someone you are either too ashamed or too afraid to disappoint. If you set a goal and you did not achieve it, if you go to meet your friends, you people just laugh over it, that person is bad, leave that person. You must talk with people that when you say, I want to host this conference, and when you have not hosted it, you are not supposed to see them. You are supposed to be hiding. It's not because they will slap you, but you are either too ashamed or too afraid to come and tell them stories. You must get into association that make you very uncomfortable. Even if you have to be in an association, you know why? I don't just pay for the knowledge. When you pay for association, you pay for access. And to succeed in this life is access. Uche is talking about, oh, they have a knowledge that... I won't talk about this now. When I was coming back, I'm rounding off already. When I was coming back, of course, I have a lot of people that knew I was coming back. Normally, I have some time to spend with a few persons before I go. And so, in the next couple of days, actually, next tomorrow is my birthday, actually. Thank you. So, sometime, I think on 17th, I'm going to be having some time with some people who have been forcing me and telling me, oh, they want to spend. So I said, okay, I'm going to spend some 6-7 hours with them to show them a few things, actually. Now, trust me, it's not free. You know why? Because there's this philosophy that when people pay, they pay attention. We are at the level now where if I tell you, oh, pay 20,000 to be in my space, you know. I know they beg you for the money. I hope you know. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I tell you now that to be in my space for 7 hours, can go see everything that I have. You know, I cannot say it now. Now, if you don't have it, it's okay. We'll give glory to God. You'll get it when you get it. But there is an anger that you trigger when you stretch your limit. Are you following what I'm saying? Now, this law is called law of individual competitiveness. I'll just read it out and then we'll leave it, but I can unpack it. It's a whole lot. It says, what you know plus how you express what you know multiplied by who you know plus who knows you. This is the secret to your success. Your knowledge, fantastic. Plus, is not enough. How you express it. But at that level, you are still at the level we call the arithmetic progression. You are still doing 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 16 is 32, Abi. 32 plus 32 is 64, Abi. Until you now put the multiplication equation. Who you know. That's where you launch yourself into the geometric progression. Where 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is no longer 8. It's now 16. You see how you now skyrocketed by who you know. But they also say that it's not also enough by who you know. It is who knows you. You think Ezekiel will come here because Wilson just knows him? No. He knows Wilson. That's why he can fly down. It's not because Wilson knows me. Me and Wilson were from the same place. I could have flown from Russia back to Cyprus. I told him I'm coming. Don't worry, they come. It's because I know him. I can unpack this. Next slide. You spoke about environment. Many people confuse environment with location. It's not the same thing, you. Location is just a geographical, position. Environment is just a space with the elements that helps you to prepare and train. So you can actually be in a good location, but you are in a terrible environment. They say, oh, move to Lagos. Okay, you move to Lagos. It's a good location, but it's not. Are you in a good environment? Are you following what I'm saying? Next slide. I'm rushing. Every other thing I will give it to all the people that I'm going to be meeting on 17th. Of course, we just spoke a whole lot about tech. Tech is here to help you. Use it to build your personal brand, which I'm grateful that the king of personal brand is here. So he's going to come to unpack these things. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm here with my jotters. Right? Next slide. And this whole thing I've said is not dependent on your feeling. And so don't wait till you feel it to do it. You have to start doing it. Start doing it until you start feeling it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to start doing it, start taking action, start doing what you have to do until it now becomes part of you. They say, oh, somebody say, traveling is tiring. Don't worry, not when president starts inviting you. You know, I went to Russia where I have to fly 8 hours from Moscow to Vladivostok, 8 hours, 20 minutes within the same country. Within this, it's like going to Abuja. I fly from Abuja to Lagos and you have to fly 8 hours. Imagine it. And then they are 2 hours apart. So even Moscow is 7 hours behind where I'm going. You push to get to that place. Next slide. I think that should be my final slide. Now, there was something this lady said, and I want to correct that and use it to share with us as I wrap up. She was to talk to some people here, the lady that was asking question, and there was something that happened. She now said, oh, small me. Listen, the only people that know you are small are the people who are still defining you by who you used to be. And so, you must never tell the story of your life in such a way that it invalidates the future you are desiring for yourself. I just told you guys now that I spent 18 years before getting a university. Do I look like I'm shy? I told you guys now that it took me 14 years to go to a school. Do I look like I'm shy? Many people even have war stories, but you are telling those stories in such a way that people are pitying you. When she was talking about scholarship, what I was just saying is that it is her story that she crafted in. She was telling you how she had to write a story. You know, she had to write, even in her essay, she wrote why she did this, why she had to do this one. That is her story. Some of you have stories that if they submit it to Chevening now, it will shock you. By this time next year, you are in the UK, they are giving you money. But now you are writing down your story. You are talking to yourself where even the person that wants to give you money self cannot even give you. Never tell the story of your life in such a way that it invalidates the future you deserve for yourself. Next slide. Okay, this is it. I think on 17th, I'm not going to talk about it. Any person that would like to be in this room, we'll just talk. I'm here. I know they go anywhere. Don't worry. I'm here. You talk to me. I'll let you know what it takes to be in that room. 7 hours, you're going to be with me. I'm going to go with you on a journey of personal growth strategy in the body. We're going to stay together with me, physical, so that I can do some mental surgery and unpack a lot of things. Me, I used to come back once in every year. Now I'm trying to come back twice. Uche, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to do that. I'm also going to help you guys to know how to access global opportunity through education. I'm glad you guys were saying these things. I was so blessed when people are talking about education, scholarships, and everything. I'm going to also help you guys to know. And somebody mentioned that they run a travel and agency store or something. It was you as well. I was so blessed. So I'm going to be talking with these guys. So if you're interested in being in this room on 17th, you just meet me later. No, don't stress it. I will let you know what it takes to be in that room with me. And I think that's that. Next slide. I think that should be that. Thank you so much, everyone. You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, or whatever. And I'm very responsive. It doesn't matter where I am. I will always respond. And I'm very nocturnal, so don't say I've slept. It will shock you that I'm more awake than you, wherever you are. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's really good to be back.
Thank you, sir. Can we keep clapping till he goes back to his seat? Keep clapping. Keep clapping. It's very important. It's our culture. We appreciate and we celebrate value. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know what you heard from that session, but it was, as usual, packed with a lot of mindset re-engineering. So I want us to really, take a lot home, right? And he says that he's going to be here, right? So let's also take advantage of that opportunity because we're about to go for our short break, right? I think there was a particular time where I got a DM and I saw that it was Chief. And the way we're even I was very surprised. So when he says he's very open, he's actually very open, okay? So let's just take advantage of that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we know that a lot of you did not bring up your questions, but during the short break we'll be taking, this is an opportunity for you to, reach out to whoever you want to reach out to. If you have questions, if you have concerns, they are here and they want to listen to you, they want to help you. So these are the opportunities you'll be getting in this event, and I really want us to leverage on them. So after the break, we are going to have a very interesting session. It's a raffle draw.
30 minutes.
The break will be 30 minutes, please, 30 minutes. After which we would come back for the afternoon session. It's already afternoon, but let's assume afternoon session. And then we'd have a raffle draw. Details on the raffle draw will be coming to you. So I just want you to know that there's something coming for you. We'd have one more speaker come up and speak to us on something very exciting, and then a panel session. Remember, during this break, network, meet people, talk to them, and it will be a very amazing time.
All right, and also eat. Is there where you solve your small problems, you can think about big problems. I'm already thinking about food. I don't want to think about food, so I'll have to go and eat. All right, okay, so we want to do a very simple activity before we go for the break. I want us to bring out our phones. Every single person, we're looking beautiful. I'm seeing very handsome faces. I'm seeing amazing people. Myself, I'm looking forward to connecting, right? So bring out your phone, open your selfie, right? Sir Raymond said, amplify yourself. You are a lot. So take that wonderful selfie, give us that smile, show us your teeth, show us everything. Even if it's half like my own, still do it like that. It's fine.
You can take a picture with your neighbor.
Take the picture, take it really well. Right? You can take with your neighbor, right? And I want us to go on your social media platform. Could be Facebook, could be Instagram. We are everywhere, right? Just post with the hashtag Bizcon 2025. Is our hashtag. Don't worry, nobody will chase you anyway, right? Make a post Bizcon 2025. Tag Bizcon 2025, right? The account, and we would repost. We would share all of that across our communities, okay? Thank you so very much. The 30 minutes break would start now, right? And during this time, there would also be the setup just at the entrance for lunch. So let's do well to also eat, right? Eat. Okay, thank you very much.
So while you network with people, you can just follow this side and then go outside and get your lunch so you eat and be strong and healthy. Thank you very much for staying up till now. I believe that you're enjoying yourselves, and I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you on a personal level. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Your time starts now.